Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." We're going to talk about what that means. Now, it's important to know a little bit about Ralph Waldo Emerson. So he basically was a philosopher who left his life in the city and returned to nature, of which he stayed in the forest for like years by himself. So with that in context, say you did something similar to him, where you at least don't have to go out and live in the boondocks, but you isolate yourself, quarantine, separate, whatever synonym you want to use, where you do not have any contact with the outside world, meaning anyone else, any other human beings. If you were to do that, you'd find that your life would get better. Why would it get better? Well, there's really no measurement or barometer that you can stack your life up to someone else's. There's no comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy because it takes away everything that you find joy in, everything that makes you happy, right? Say you, I don't know, killed a deer and you got and you're happy that you had dinner for a week. Well, if you were in community, if you were in a place where other people were, where you can observe other people's going-ons in life, if someone were to catch 2 deer, that would dampen your achievement. But if you were never privy to their achievements and were only focused on your own, you would be ecstatic. There's something about looking at your life and then looking at someone else's life and desiring that. The grass is always greener. There's something about that that takes the edge off of your accomplishments. Just a little bit. Now, in the modern day, it's extremely hard. It's very hard to separate yourself and do this. And with the advent of social media and smartphones and technology, we've never been more connected than we are right now. Maybe there's a coincidence between that and why people are so depressed these days, so unhappy. It's because it only takes a click of your Instagram app to open up a world of other people's lives. In fact, we're so obsessed with looking at other people's life, we ignore our own. Thus why we have this epidemic of smartphone mania. So that's why it's so important, and I stress to you that, yeah, I get it, okay? Sometimes the only way to keep in touch with your friends is through these things. I'm not saying I don't use them, I do, but I try to limit my exposure to them because I understand what they do, right? You're on your phone and you're scrolling and you're looking at all these cool things and all your friends that are awesome and everyone's life is better than yours, and why is everyone in Fiji and how can they afford all these cool trips? Yes, whatever, it's cool, but end of the day, I feel bad about myself. It always comes back to you. Everything always comes back to you. Try not to compare. Observe, but don't compare. This isn't a contest. My life is not a contest with yours. And yours isn't with mine or hers or his or whatever. We're not playing to win because there is no game to win. We're all just here to experience. So take your experiences and actually experience them. Don't covet the experiences of others. And when you are able to separate yourself from that and be aware and cognizant of what's going on, you'd find this quote to be extremely true. There's no debating it. Comparison is the thief of joy. If you, I don't know where you live in the world, but if you come up from the Western civilizations, there's a big emphasis on competition. I think there's a big emphasis on competition wherever you go. It's kind of innate in man. But it's funny that something that is so natural to us to compete and to be a winner is something that inhibits and slows our conscious development. To compete is very primal, and there's times for it. There's sport. There's different variations of sport. Well, hell, I mean, actually, there's different variations of war. Sport is just a variation of war. But you get what I'm saying. When we both have a mutual agreement that we are competing for entertainment or resources or something, but don't compete with me to say my job's better than yours, and you're comparing that my house is better than yours, your house is better than mine. It's really kind of a sick situation when you think about it, right? When you're competing in areas that aren't competitions, it's very selfish, because a person doesn't know you're competing with them most of the time, or you don't know that they're competing with you. There is this weird conflict of interest that goes on. It's really based out of selfishness and greed and jealousy and insecurity. It's really insecurity. That's what it is. If you're a secure person, there's no need to do any of that. Because you know your life is separate from theirs, and it is what it is. Why covet other people's things? That's theirs. You probably have things that they want. It all washes out in the end. It all does. And if you're not as blessed materially, you might be more blessed spiritually or intellectually. There's no way to quantify these things. We all have different gifts. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes life beautiful. Variety is the fruit of life. You know, you can't win in everything, and there's no such thing as a perfect person, and there's no such thing as a perfect life. And if someone tries to portray to you that they have a perfect life, they're liars. That's it. They're freaking liars. You know, that's why, you know, Instagram, dude, I think it's a cancer. I think it's a cancer. Because the whole basis of the platform is to compare. You know? How can you have a trending picture? It's a more popular picture. People are reduced to numbers and followers and likes. But what does it even really mean? You know, and then based off of what they select to you and what they've edited to show you, the best highlights in their life, then you look at all those and you make the assumption that their life is just a 100% beautiful. And they're 100% good looking all the time. When they don't show you the whole picture. They don't show you the whole picture like you know the whole picture really is. You know how your life is. And that's exactly how their life is. They got bad moments, they got good moments. You got bad moments, you got good moments. It's really takes the joy from you and holds it just above your head, right out of your reach. You know, it's always, oh, I'm proud of myself that I accomplished so and so, but the but is where the comparison convinces you that you have not optimized the achievement. You have not achieved as much as you can, or at least to the extent of what's possible. You've only achieved so far. But you remove that comparison and you're able to say, I've achieved. There's no but. Removes the but. So just keep that in mind. You know, we all live in a modern age and in a modern society, and there's almost no more land left, at least in LA County, to separate yourself. And that's why it's even more important to understand these concepts and make a mental barrier or division inside your head. Filter in information and then understand what that information is. You know, filter in everyone's lives, achievements, understand that they probably had to work really hard for that. Probably harder than you did if you haven't achieved it, at least in that aspect of your life. Look up to them in that sense if it's something that you'd like to achieve, but never be jealous of them and never compete. Because in the end, if you really truly want to achieve something that someone else has done, that's a role model to you, and that's great. But don't be jealous. Just understand what you got to do. Thanks a lot, guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe.